Hello and welcome to another video tutorial here on understanding body language, liars, cheats and happy feet. Hope everyone's okay and having a good day. It's nearly New Year's Eve. So we're all looking forward to 2012. So the video I've got for you today is the weigh-in between Alistair Overeem and Brock Lesnar for the UFC 141 fight that's coming up on New Year's Eve. So what I'm going to just run through here is some of the behaviour that we can witness between the two fighters and try and understand some of the reasoning behind it. So let's just play the video and let's have a look see here. So here comes Alistair Overeem. He's one of the fighters involved. So here we go. So the first thing we see here is obviously the functional reason behind stripping off is to try and make yourself weigh a little bit less. However, the first little snippet of body language comes in by, I don't know if you saw that. Check out the lady on Alistair's right. Now look at the huge surprise expression she gives when Alistair hops on the scales. There we go. So we're seeing massive surprise there, and she's extremely impressed by what she sees. Let's just see if we can get it going in there again. Now how the eyebrows raise and the jaw drops down, and then the smile comes in straight away. So she's very impressed about what she's seen. Alistair here tries to make himself as intimidating as possible, and that's where he shows off the bicep pose here. It's a territorial display showing that I'm in charge. And look at these muscles here. Okay, so this kind of expression you'll see throughout the combat world, from UFC and boxing and professional wrestling and things like that. You'll see this dominance display quite a lot to show his prowess and his suitability as a fighter. Okay, so he's one of the competitors. And here's an opponent. I'm sure he needs no introduction to you. Brock Lesnar. So Brock obviously walks in, and then he will do the same thing again. He'll strip off to A, make himself lighter, and B, to show his physique. So he tries to unnerve his opponent by showing his prowess. Okay, there we go. So the usual pose down to make himself more dominant. Hops on the scales. Okay, we can see that lady there again. He's tremendously impressed by what she sees. If we could just scoot back, keep an eye out for the lady in the bottom right, the lady with the black hair. Yep, she's bobbing about. She's got happy feet. She's impressed. So 266, if you're watching in Great Britain, is 19 stone. And also Brock Lesnar's about 6'3". So it's quite interesting that, unbelievably, I'm almost the same size as Brock Lesnar. I'm 6'2", and I'm around the 19 stone mark as well. But thankfully I don't look anything like Brock Lesnar, so I'll not be asking Brock for a fight anytime soon. So what happens now is here we go. Okay, so that's called mirroring, obviously. So you're trying to mirror each other's intimidation moves. What you'll find here is a decrease in blinking rate. Don't forget, when you're angry at something, you'll try and fixate your gaze on a target. So your pupils will constrict, and that's why we see here that particular expression there. So they're trying not to reveal anything facially, which would be conceived as a sign of weakness. Also, the eyes are fixated on the eyes. It's a very domineering display, so the pupils will become constricted, so you'll be able to get a better scope of what you're seeing. This kind of behaviour here is an intimidation display, trying to unnerve. So what you'll find here is the heart rate will dramatically start to increase if you feel threatened. What's interesting now is when Alice is interviewed, don't forget, in that type of situation, if you're afraid of somebody, the autonomic nervous system will kick in, which will mean you elevate blood pressure, elevate heart rate, elevate breathing rate, which means that you'll start to show signs of stress. And often signs of stress come in throughout the voice, that your voice will start to crack and show signs of nervousness, because the vocal folds will start to tighten, so your pitch will get a little bit higher.
First of all, welcome to the UFC. It's been a long time coming.
But we don't see that here from Alistair.
Huge fight. Give us your thoughts on Brock Lesnar and what's going down tomorrow night. Well, first of all, it's very good to finally be in the UFC. I would like to thank all you fans out there who rooted for me. And
so we don't see that. So we don't see any kind of nervous energy. We don't see any behaviour that's been influenced by fear. So we can see here that Alistair doesn't necessarily fear Brock Lesnar.
Tomorrow can be pretty short. I predicted a first, and if not a first or second round knockout.
First or second round knockout, that's what he's predicting.
Man. Good luck to you, sir. Mr. Lesnar has left the building.
So Brock has not decided to give an interview. However, what I'm going to do, I'm just going to run through a couple of Brock Lesnar's interviews, and I just want to point out a few things I've noticed throughout his interviews when he's talking about this fight. So let me just pause it here. Now the first one is the mouth shrug and the facial expression he gives when he talks about this big fight. So let's just have a look at this one.
So that was my Christmas present. I mean, what else can I have? You know, I got my health and I got a big fight coming up. And I don't need anything.
Okay, so when he says he's got a big fight coming up. Okay, watch how he presses his lips together in that expression there, and watch how the corners of the mouth dip down now to make almost reveal like the sadness expression there, you see. I can also see very slight tightening of the upper eyebrows, but we can certainly see the corners of the mouth drop down here. So that tells me slightly that potentially Brock Lesnar knows something about his health or his fitness that he's not willing to let on. Let's just watch that segment back again. Don't forget, confidence and physiognomy, which is the interpretation of character and temperament based on facial expressions, we can see here that his immediate facial expression is a negative one, not a positive one about when he says he's got a big fight coming up.
Health and I got a big fight coming up. And I don't need anything.
Okay, so that's an interesting point. However, we need to see more behaviour like this to make a conclusion. We can't just base that he's not comfortable already or confident about his fight just because he's made tightening of the lips and a slight sadness facial expression. However, if we fast forward this interview to around about 5 minutes in, we can see when he talks about Alistair, we can hear how his voice starts to alter. And don't forget, when our voice starts to alter, it can be a sign of stress and nervousness. However, let's just have a look at what he's got to say for himself here.
I don't even know how many months that has gone by, and here I am in a pretty big fight. You know, so I feel I don't need it.
So when he says pretty big fight, obviously he's referring to Alistair's fight.
I feel I don't need it. I don't need any Christmas present. That's my Christmas present, just to be healthy.
Okay, so he's going to start talking about Alistair here.
So when you did look at a little bit of footage of him, though, what did you think of him compared to some of the other guys that you've already fought?
So before he starts talking, just note how Brock's demeanour changes. Obviously, we haven't seen much of this interview, or you haven't seen much of this interview on my video here. But if you get a chance, try and watch this video through. But look how his demeanour changes now when he's asked about Alistair's style and his skills. Know how his speech rate starts to go increasingly fast. He makes quite a few speech errors, and he finds it difficult to string a sentence together. Look, know how he talks here.
Honestly, I really don't say, well, I mean, we look at tendencies. We look at who he's fought, who he's won against. We look at, we really break the fighter down. You know, we don't. I'm not analyzing Alistair as a person. I'm analyzing him as a fighter, and so we break down, his how he moves.
Okay, so what I can see here is a cluster of like movements. The first thing here is how he's struggling to get his words out. He's got a few problems with how to string a sentence together. We've got past tenses, present tenses. What we see there is a visual.
Honestly, I really don't say, well, I mean, we look at tendencies.
Speech errors.
We look at who he's fought, who he's won
and then we
against.
see that particular expression there, you see, which is called an adapter, where the hands place around the mouth.
Tendencies. We look at who he's fought, who he's won against.
Okay, so that's an adapter. So placing the hands around the mouth, making it difficult for the conversation partner or the receiver to interpret what's been said. It's a sign of stress. It's not a confident display. And we can also see by his increasing movement, we can see how he's bobbing around. Look. We can see how his head is bobbing about, and we can also see how his shoulders are moving about.
As a person, I'm analyzing him as a fighter, and so
we can see he's agitated. And also what's interesting to note as well, I don't know if you can see on this video, but he's got massive pupil dilation. His pupils are very wide. Now, pupil dilation can come in when we feel threatened or fear. So we're seeing here that maybe Brock Lesnar isn't as confident as he says he is in this fight. Because internally we can see he's making speech errors. We can clearly see that his behaviour, he's all over the place, he's bobbing about. So again, we're seeing signs of potential nervousness there. And we're also seeing pupil dilation come in as well.
How he moves, and we want my guys to mimic that, and we focus on how we can, nullify certain things and control this fight. And that's what that's how I look at things. I don't look at it like, well, yeah, he's got a good jab, or we got a, we approach it very professionally.
Okay, so let's just pause it there. So there we go. So that's the end of the interview. That's the good side, the most things that are worth analysing in this video. So it's going to be a good fight. I must say, before you start, I'm not a big UFC fan. I followed Brock Lesnar years ago when he was in professional wrestling. I've got to say he's one of the strongest men I've ever seen. The way he picked up that Paul White, the Big Show, like that. I mean, God knows how much he weighs. He just picks him up like he weighs nothing. So he's an unbelievable athlete. I've seen a few of his fights in UFC as well. He is an unbelievable performer. I think in this respects here, by when he's talking and the displays he's showing, he's not necessarily confident in what he's saying. But we'll have to see how it all pans out. But we'll have to see. So there you go. So anyway, if you'd like to learn more about body language, then please check out my Understanding Body Language page. It's called Liars, Cheats and Happy Feet. Or you can find me on Twitter at Body Language UK. Please leave me a comment. It'd be good to hear from you. This will probably be the last video I'm doing this year. So it's been a wonderful 2011 for me. I've set my page up, and these body language videos are on the way to hitting 500,000 hits on YouTube. So I'm truly blessed at all your support. For everyone who's become a fan of my work and my videos, I thank you from the bottom of my heart for helping me get my work about and played all around the world. I am forever in your debt. So there you go. So any questions, comments, please let me know. I'm out on New Year's Eve, but I'll be trying to keep an eye on the fight and see how it goes. Personally, my prediction, I don't know, well, Alistair Overeem looks good. He's massive, he's a huge chap, 6'5". But Brock Lesnar, I'd probably say he's probably the stronger out of the two. Physically stronger, so it's going to be a great fight. But there's something about Brock Lesnar's demeanour at the moment, like I've shown there with those facial expressions, increasing stress and nervousness and things like that, that are coming in that potentially he might not be as fit and healthy as he's saying he is. But time will tell. So there you go. So anyway, people, it's been lovely to speak to you all this year. I've had a great time doing all these body language videos for you, and I look forward to spending 2012 doing more videos, more body language work, and hopefully getting on TV and doing some work on there as well. So there you go. So from everyone here, Understanding Body Language, Liars, Cheats and Happy Feet, I hope you have a wonderful New Year's Eve and a fantastic 2012. So take care and bye-bye for now.